Welcome back, Perfect Peeps, to AJ's Week in Web, where you can get all your web development news in 5 minutes or less. Hey there, Perfect Peeps. I just wanted to throw out there that Purrfect.dev is our new podcast that's starting up in 2020. We did put the kind of beginning podcast out there, so you can go to Purrfect.dev and check out all of the new episodes that are coming up. First off in the news, the State of JavaScript 2019 has come out. The front-end framework chase is still occurring, so Vue.js has dropped from the top to the third pick on viewers' awareness, interest, and satisfaction ratio. You'll see that React has jumped to number 1, and Svelte is actually becoming very interesting to folks. Interestingly enough, React kind of stayed a little bit where it was at if you take Svelte out, and Angular has dropped even further. Coming from a person that is a huge Angular fan and grew up in Angular, I find this very surprising, as I find most industries continue to use Angular in their enterprise products. So this fight is very interesting as it continues to go on in 2019. If we continue that trend of looking at what happened in 2019, the technology side of things, JavaScript continues to be one of the highest programming languages that you can learn, followed by HTML and CSS. Jumping down to the web frameworks, you'll notice that jQuery has a 48% margin in that realm. So React.js is showing that it has 31%, and then Angular. You'll notice, again, this is a difference on the ratio for engagement and involvement versus what people are actually using. The professional developer side of that, Angular is actually second. And that's where that kind of confusion might come into play when we start to see the state of the JS type of libraries versus the professional developers. So if you're looking for a job, Angular still is not a bad one to learn. Cloudinary has a new integration with Shutterstock, and it is kind of amazing once you start going out to it and listening through it. Shutterstock has tons and tons of videos and illustrations you can start to pull now from the vast variety of Shutterstock items. You can pull that in from your digital asset management and start using that today. Scully.io released what is amazing about Scully. What is Scully? First of all, it is an Angular static site generator. Scully.io, I think, was related around the X-Files, so I made a little quick blog post. Scully.io, static sites are out there. There's a link on the blog post that has the main Scully.io GitHub account and details out all of the documentation that you might need. Aaron Frost and the Hero Devs also released a nice video that is listed out on the blog as well. An item that popped into my inbox was interactive canvas for Google Assistant actions. I want to start doing some more actions and show people how to use them so they can start utilizing some of these cool tools coming out of Google and the Google Assistant. This is a pretty neat one. So typically on actions, you're always going to want to go back to the most basic where you're having a conversation and then lead into something like this with the interactive canvas. So this will cover smart displays, the Nest Hubs, and Android mobile devices. It's a pretty neat new technology that they have here with the smart display calling out to the web app, and then it's kind of working through that same dialogue flow that you might be used to if you've done actions in the past. Last but certainly not least is the introduction to AWS Lambda Destinations. So typically when you're firing off Lambdas, especially in the SQS, Simple Queue service, I always mess that up with SNS. When you're dropping those off, you would usually just get like a 200 type of response or status code, and it would either pass or fail and keep retrying. Now what you're able to do is have an execution result that can call back out to different items within the AWS stack, including Lambdas. So now once you see a success or a failure, you could send out another queue, you could send out an email, you could drop it off to a database. There's a lot of flexibility that this now provides. I'll continue to keep pulling apart the AWS reInvent details that were listed out. There was just so many of them, it's hard to do in a 5-minute Week in Web. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching AJ's Week in Web. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch next week's Week in Web.